So this morning we were looking in a field, in a smaller field, kind of a practice field, your demonstration field. Can you believe the earthworms that we saw today? I was pretty impressed. I didn't predict that many earthworms to start with, but even the infiltration, we did a little infiltration test, and we had, what was it, Buzz? 15 inches per hour infiltration rate on the second inch. That's impressive.
And to add to that, though, but that's coming off of inch and a half of rain about a week ago. So I mean, and an inch and a half of rain, I know that for some people that's not much, but for southeast Idaho, that's a pretty substantial rain.
Yeah. You took us to that field for a specific reason. Can you tell us why that is?
Well, the reason I started out in that field is because I have not tilled that field for 8 years now, and it's going to be dedicated as my I want to say test plot, because it's always going to be a test plot, always trying something new. Yeah. It's a field that I hope to never till as long as I'm farming. In the West, in our dry, arid climates, it's different than in the Midwest and in the East. And so I want to tell myself the story of what's possible. In southeast Idaho, we're under a water curtailment, right? And so, you know, everything we do here, the only way it grows is with putting water on with these wheel lines, and so, which, you know, can get pretty expensive. And what I'm able to do by not tilling has been pretty phenomenal. I can't control market revenue, you know, based on what I sell my crop for, but I can completely control what I put into my crop, right? And for me to stay viable as a smaller farmer, it's going to be reducing my inputs is what's going to keep me in business long term.
Okay. Well, give us an idea of the last 8 years, maybe the kind of history, the field history that we've seen there.
Okay, so the field the last 8 years, the first 4 years of that 8 was alfalfa. Now, alfalfa doesn't really add a lot to your soil because, you know, you're taking everything off. But what the alfalfa does is it starts the process, providing some cash to me as a producer. But it starts the process of getting some good deep vertical roots, and then from there, I do nothing. When I took the alfalfa out, I just sprayed it with 2,4-D to kill the alfalfa, and then I just started interseeding cover crops. When I took the alfalfa out, my first crop that I put in was oil radish with some Austrian winter peas. Let that grow up, mowed it, and then I planted winter wheat right into it.
Okay. Now, what I really liked over there, I didn't realize, but you had an 8-way brassica mix, and then that you planted early, and then you went ahead and with the grain drill planted your winter barley, and then you still had red clover. So give us an idea of that process. So you're already basically into, at least your radish companion crop was way up. So talk about that process.
Yeah. So the crop that I had previously, I had garbanzo beans or chickpeas in there, and we harvested the chickpeas off. And then I came in immediately and I interseeded a pretty extensive blend that had some radish, mustard, and then a bunch of legumes in there.
Legumes as well.
we put that in at about 22 pounds, right?
And what time of the year was that?
We planted that on the 15th of August.
Okay.
Yep. And so then we let it grow up, and then on around the 20, I believe it's the 20 or 21st of September, we came in with winter barley and interseeded it right into it. And I blended about 10 to 12 pounds of red clover. My motivation for the red clover is just, it's something different in the soil that's stimulating root activity, because for me, in the process that I've learned, root activity is where it all starts, right? All this stuff above ground that I grow, yeah, it's sexy maybe, but down in the soil is where I'm going. And interseeding the red clover, next year when I come in to control the weeds, I know that I'll kill a portion of that, but I'm not going to end up killing it all. And so I'll just have something. And red clover doesn't need a lot of sunlight to grow, so it'll grow well in the thick barley, and it just is a nice ground cover and there'll be something there, so that when I shut the water off and harvest my barley, I've got something that's still active in the soil. Trying to keep activity to get those earthworms, continue them growing. I mean, do I have that kind of earthworms in this field? No, but that's the value for me of that that 10-acre plot there. Not a lot of acres, but you know what? I had to figure out how to do it for myself, right? Because if I'm never successful doing what I'm supposed to do, you're gonna probably quit. But when you can start to do some things, well, let me try this, let me try that. Your own farm is where you're gonna develop probably some of the most successful practices.